So you've got that dreaded email.
We regret to inform you that you've not been successful in this occasion.
In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly how you can deal with this rejection. I'm Sarah Edwards and I'm your probation officer to be able to help you through to understand the job of what actually does a probation officer do and help you through the assessment centre stage as you're applying to be a probation officer. So make sure you subscribe and follow me for more. So how do you even deal with this rejection, with this failure? I thought I would share with you my failure because I totally get it, 100%. I know exactly what you are going through. Time for a little bit of story time. When I first applied to be a probation officer, I also failed the first time. It was devastating for me. I passed the application stage and I was over the moon, and I went to the whole assessment centre and I got that rejection email as well. So how did it feel? It feels crappy because you feel like, firstly, that was your only chance, because jobs like the trainee probation officer scheme come up a couple of times a year, if any. Sometimes they're stopped. So you kind of feel like that's it, your life is over now. You feel like that is it now, you've got no more opportunities, no more chance. Like, those thoughts are genuinely going through your head. And firstly, it's alright, like, you're not the only one who had those thoughts going through your head. You're not crazy, you're not stupid for thinking that. It's totally normal, and it's a totally normal way to actually process what has just happened. I know, me personally, I get really worked up when I have pressurised situations like tests, because it reminds me of school, where there's all that pressure on having to pass, having to get a certain grade. So you have to be very focused to not let all that past experiences affect your present. So that is something you really need to build up your strength with if you want to be able to deal with this rejection and move forward, because we spend so much of our time in the school system, in the education system, that things like failure really hits home to some past experiences of failure. So in this section, I'm going to tell you exactly what I've done to deal with rejection and what you can do too. After crying, after feeling like I'm a major failure, that I failed at life, after thinking that everyone else is better than me and that I always fail, basically after wallowing in it, what did I do next and what can you do? First thing is, I actually figured out where I went wrong. So sometimes the recruiter, so sometimes probation or whoever your recruiter is, will say in your email where you didn't get through. So maybe the role play, the interview. At my time, it was the verbal reasoning test. So I think it actually said that I failed on the verbal reasoning test. So I clearly knew where I needed to improve for next time. If it doesn't say that, then feel free to email them and say, I would really appreciate your time and I would like some feedback on where I scored lowest or where I didn't specifically get the job. Having that, it may be difficult to hear, it may be uncomfortable to hear, but it will really help you progress out of that failure and into success. What it does mean is there is always room for improvement. So the first time with my verbal reasoning test, I just looked at the examples that they gave us and I practiced them. What did I do differently the next time? I actually went to the library, got a book on verbal reasoning so I could understand what verbal reasoning is, why recruiters use verbal reasoning, so I had some context to it, and how best to approach verbal reasoning, and then I done the examples. Whereas the first time I just launched straight into the examples without any of that context. That really helped for me, and I know it will help for you. Next up, it was more of a mindset thing. Actually knowing that it's not just me that's a failure, lots of other people fail. So it's really good to maybe listen to some stories of people that inspire you, where they're talking about their own failures, just to know that actually you're not alone, it's not only you, lots of people fail, and it is a normal part of life and it's a normal part of the process. My next tip would be, go back to your why. What I mean by that is, we all have a why. Why do you want to be a probation officer? Why do you want to do the job that you're applying for? because that will really help you come out of that failure stage and into more success, because you need to have persistence. If you want to carry on, you need to be persistent with it. I knew straight away I need to apply for that round again. So this is a step you can take. If you failed and you know that this is definitely the job you want, there's no other option, rebook it. And what I mean by that is reapply. Google it, sign up to all the emails so you actually know in advance. Wallowing in our failure can look like this. Okay, that's it, my life is over, I'm never going to be able to get on the probation application again, it's never going to come around again. Get ready to apply. That will keep you motivated and that shows your persistence. But you've got to know what path you want to go down, because it can be easy to have that self-doubt and think, no, it's not the job for me, I'll just find another graduate scheme, or I'll just find some other thing to do. Maybe it's not the career path for me. If it really is, you need to have that persistence, that drive, that motivation. Stay to the end, because I might have some updates about when the next probation application is opening. My next step is having self-discipline. Having self-discipline means not getting comfortable. You've got to have self-discipline to be able to carry you forward. So how did that self-discipline look like for me? So at the time, I was still doing my job as admin for probation, I was still doing my voluntary work for youth offending, and I was still doing my job on the side as an unpaid work supervisor. I didn't stop all them because I failed. No, I just carried on because I still knew that they were going to help me when I applied the next time round. Have that self-discipline to keep doing the things that you are already doing well. My next tip would be to map out a direction, so you know that you definitely want to apply for the probation officer role again. Is there anything you need to be doing differently? So maybe for you it was another area, so maybe it was role play or interview. So do you need to maybe have a bit more interview experience? If yes, apply for a few entry-level jobs just to build your confidence with interviews and get you used to it. Do you maybe need more experience working directly with offenders? Then go out and find some voluntary experience. Figure out where you need to improve and have a path mapped out for you. Alright, the next tip. Don't let your past experiences dictate your present or your future. What do I mean by that? We've all experienced failure in the past, and if you haven't, think back, you probably have. We've experienced failure, like I said, maybe at school, at college, at uni, whatever, maybe in our just normal lives, with relationships, anything it is, you've probably experienced failure. But sometimes we can get stuck in that mindset of thinking, okay, that failure is me, maybe I am such a failure, maybe I am that person. The self-doubt creeps in, you start not believing in your abilities, not believing in yourself, you start questioning yourself, thinking you're not good enough. All of that cycle can begin. What you need to know is, just because that happened in the past, it doesn't mean it's going to happen now or in the future, and you can actually change that and you can be successful. And my final tip for dealing with rejection is knowing that just because you finish uni or school, formal education doesn't have to stop there. You've tried applying for the probation application, you didn't get through, you need to clearly boost your skills somewhere. How are you going to do that? You need to educate yourself, which is probably why I'm guessing you clicked on this video, because you want to know how to deal with failure, you want to know how to get through to assessment centre stage, you want to know about being a probation officer. You are educating yourself, so carry on with that, because that will really help. Education doesn't stop outside of uni, outside of school. Formal education does not need to be the only way to boost your skills and beat the competition, which is why I have created my coaching course, especially for you guys, because that will really help you understand how to actually apply for the probation officer job and other jobs if you're interested in psychology, criminology jobs. If you have dealt with failure, if you've not got through, don't worry, because I'm here for you. I've got more than just videos, I've got a full coaching program where you will learn step by step exactly how to pass each stage, how to build your confidence, how to build your mindset, so that you are ready to apply again and you have the skills to take you to the probation officer role and beyond. Let me know in the comments, what was your last failure? How did you deal with it? As promised, I said I was going to share with you when the next probation officer training is going to be open, and it is going to be open in the summer of this year. There's no specific date yet, but summer clearly means July or August, so it's going to be happening. It's going to be happening very soon, so make sure you're prepared. Join the pre-probation program. I'll leave all the links and details below.